everyone. This is November 16th, APAC EMEA timed Delivery Weekly. So there's a few announcements, which I'll let you mostly read through. One I've just added on as a mention is 1B. So just as a kind of like FYI, it is US Thanksgiving next week. So I expect things will be quiet. At the moment, I don't believe there are any PCLs planned. That could change, but I think for now it won't. But just as a, if you are going to need other people, expect that if they're US based, they may not be around late next week. Cool. And then on discussion points, I was thinking of sort of like what we could use this time for usefully. And actually I realized I think the last few weeks, months, both the Delivery Weekly meetings have become quite updatey. But actually what they're super useful for is they are the only time really we have cross-team chats. So, do feel free to take advantage, and the agenda is open. So feel free to just like take control of it. And if there's something that you want to get people's thoughts on or discuss or raise up, then, this is absolutely the meeting for that. For today, is there actually anything anyone has on their mind around kind of like a technical concern or idea or something that we should all kind of be, we might be interested in, or some people might be interested in, or that's something which we should be actually starting to chat more about before next year?
So if no one has anything,
yeah, go for it.
So just today morning, I was wondering why we have auto deploy tag and auto deploy prepare as two parallel processes, sort of, scheduled jobs that run independent of each other. It might have made sense in the past, but now
it never
maybe
made sense.
Okay. So maybe now we can sort of combine the two. Like, for example, we only actually need to tag after two possible events. One is the creation of a new auto deploy branch. Actually, three, I guess. Creation of auto deploy branch, picking of a commit into an existing auto deploy branch. Oh yeah, that's two events. So instead of just running tag every 30 minutes, we could have like two specific processes, one to prepare auto deploy branch and then tag in the same schedule job, and another to pick commits and tag in the same schedule job, so that we don't have those timing problems.
So it's even worse than this. I've lost track of how many times I was arguing with Yorick about this implementation. So to be fair, it made sense in the past, because think about this. We were preparing branches once a week when all of this started. We were preparing branch once a week and deploying 2 or 3 times a week. So this is where all it started. So it definitely made sense there. Things changed, and this is just a major source of problem because of timing. So I think that I've wrote somewhere, I should have also a timeline example of how things can go wrong if you get the wrong timing in creating, tagging, and peaking up to the point that you're losing stuff. So it's a mess. We could just use a simple schedule that is just checking all the requirements. So do I need to create a new branch? Yes, no. If so, do. Do I need to pick stuff into this branch? Yes, no. If so, pick. Now, should I tag? Yes, no. Yeah. And so, and with a single one, just find what is needed. I will not spend much time in optimizing for the peaking, because I don't think is worth continuing on the peak into auto deploy. So especially now that we are going to remove the peak into stable, we should think about next step, removing also the peak into auto deploy, because it creates
may not be common knowledge though, Alessio, that because everyone else on this team is a system. So actually I don't think the removal of the peak label is not common knowledge.
Yeah, this is a perfect example for the thing you were mentioning before, Amy. So very simple thing. We are extending the patch policies from 1 version to 3, like the security release. And in order to scale the process, we are redesigning this so that trying very high level. We are trying to go for something that is similar to auto deploy on stable branches, so that when something is ready, it got merged. So there's no picking to, you prepare the merge request, you get it reviewed, and you get it merged by a maintainer. Then delivery gets into this after the merge, right? So we have a change on the stable branch, which means we can prepare a package and deploy this to some QA environments related to that stable branch. And so the idea is that the development of the fix, it becomes a development problem. Then we take care of the stable branches, and there is QA and everything. And then basically we are splitting preparing the release from tagging the release. So when we want to do a release, we're just tagging something that is already there and it is known to be working. That's the basic idea. So with this in mind, the next logical step is let's remove also big into auto deploy, as it's easier to create a new auto deploy branch and tag.
I had a thought about the auto deploy pick label. Right, so the pick label, I think it has a use, which is kind of a indicator for somebody outside of delivery to kind of flag, this is an urgent MR that requires a little bit of extra attention, right? Like that maybe needs to go in the next package, or we need to make sure it lands in a package. What are your thoughts about us just simply rewriting the auto deploy pick label functionality to mean that when someone adds it on an MR, the label triggers a comment to get landed on that MR, for example, that pings the release managers. Hey, release managers, take care with this MR. And most likely it will just land in the next auto deploy package and we need to do nothing. But also we would have that visibility, because what that means is it wouldn't change the developer workflow. They still have a way, but it also wouldn't be generating packages for us.
So first thing, you can subscribe to labels and receive email every time that label is used, I think. So I know you can subscribe. I don't remember which type of email you receive. In theory, you get every message on things that have.
So we could do nothing. We could just literally take the functionality off the pick label. Developers could add the pick label, and we could, delivery people could, release managers could subscribe to that label.
What I was thinking more in terms of why we are using pick labels, right? So we're using pick labels to say this thing should be in the next package. That's the reason behind the label, right? I would say something we were discussing a long time ago was the introduction of the minimum SHA of the next package. Which means that, so right now we have this implicit, which is a prevention from rollback, right? So because we had issue in the past when we were tagging stuff, because the pipeline changed from green to red, then the next speaker was going back and finding a commit that was prior to the last known package. And so the idea was that we could build on top of that, and having the concept of we are not going to deploy unless this is included, which basically means when you run the prepare, you're not creating the auto deploy branches unless it includes the thing that you need, and on top of that, right? So you basically, if you don't set this, it is just going to be the previous package. So you don't want to build something that is older than the previous package that you have deployed, built. But you can build on top of that and say, now I have a stronger requirement, which is there is this problem. It makes everything that does not include this merge commit will still fail QA. So it's just a waste of time. And the idea is that this should save time in terms of pipelines, because when you pick, then you have to run the pipeline again. And in this idea is more about when we create the auto deploy branches, which guess what? Now is no longer needed. If you don't pick, you don't need to multiply branches, but that's another story. Basically, the first run is the one that you already have on the master branch. So we all, even when we create the multiply branches, a new pipeline starts, because this is how it's designed. It creates new branches, so it creates a new pipeline. But there is a logic which says, if that pipeline is running and is the one on the stable branch, but we already have a pipeline that is green on master, because this is the merge base of where we split the branch, we consider this green. And so this should speed up things quite a lot. We still have to wait for the master pipeline, but that's it. I mean, we always have to.
Yeah,
Does it
that
make
makes
sense to you? Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if we are ready to like create issues for this and actually work on it. Probably, right?
I think we have an old one. I can search
Oh,
for
we have.
this.
Okay.
I mean, we certainly, I mean, we certainly could create issues. I guess, like certainly in orchestration, we haven't prioritized it just simply because it's not our orchestration's biggest problem right now.
Yeah.
It's definitely something which I would be unhappy to see happen. But it's not orchestration's OKR for sure this quarter, unfortunately.
Yeah, I didn't mean work on it right now. I just meant like
it's not blocked, is what you mean.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, you're absolutely, yeah.
Keep it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
also one of the. Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say it is an interesting trade-off, right? Because I think this pick label does create work for release managers. So it is a little bit of a trade-off. I wonder if it's a good one for, as release managers make improvements to the process. I wonder if we could get the issues to be small enough that they, a release manager could be iterating towards it based like around release work. That's
what I was thinking. Yeah. And sorry if anyone has anything else about this.
Go for it.
On a very related topic, the other thing I think we can remove is the tag latest feature flag. So we use the tag latest feature flag when we want to tag something without waiting for the pipeline to turn green. But the problem is usually when we want to do that, we have a specific commit in mind. But again, here you're playing timing games where by the time you turn off the feature flag and go run the prepare job or run the tag job, another commit might have been added, and that one gets picked into auto deploy or tagged or whatever. So instead of having that flag and then having to run the schedule job, we could instead have something that allows us to like tell our tooling, create a branch from this commit or tag this commit, regardless of whether the pipeline is green or not. So you don't have that feature flag. You don't have to remember to turn it off afterwards, which we've forgotten a few times. So
I always forget we have the feature flag. I've never used it because I never ever remember there's a feature flag.
So, yeah, this is good as well. And I think that if we remove the idea of creating the branch, this could be a very simple chat ops command when you say, because we already have the command to tag, right? And we can add a parameter which say tag and you give the SHA. We're basically saying only check that I'm not rolling back, something like this. So we can just simplify the checks and say, that's the thing, right? Trust me, I'm the release manager. I'm making the call here, create a package from this. Because then you will still have QA and everything, right? So there are protection after this. You are just asking to create a package from a specific point in time and continue from there. Yeah, I'm supportive of this. These are all good improvements. And another thing we were thinking is...
Before we move off that one, Ruben, would you write an issue for that? Because that's a great idea. If we haven't got one already, but I don't think we have.
Yeah, I don't think we have. I'll create one.
Perfect, thanks.
No, we don't, because the thing that we were back then discussing is that basically we have a variable that is that contains the current auto deploy branch. And when we run the prepare, we are changing that CI variable. So when we tag, we just read the variable, right? So what we were discussing, maybe with the help of some feature flag, we can test the idea of having master in that variable, not bumping so it will not generate the new auto deploy branch. Will just work always from master, and then this will tag from master, and then this extension, right? When you say I want to tag this, so it looks complex because there are many ramifications of this, but it's just we are simplifying a lot the process. So it probably should be easier to just set some feature flag and cut some boundaries in the code when you say you can stop here, don't have to do all the extra stuff, and it should work. And I mean, because the first thing is still generating a package, I think we have room for test and improvement, right? Because it works well, as Amy pointed out, as a kind of release manager, I want to say experiment, because they are in control of what is happening. So if they can say, I have time today, and now I feel that I can try to build a package from master, tag auto deploy from master, and see how it goes. Because I have time, I can take a look of the pipeline, see if it's happening, cancel. If we generate something that makes no sense, that we are uncomfortable, cancel the pipeline, but I am in control of what is happening.
Awesome. Great. Thanks for the discussion. Thanks for the question, Ruben. Like super, super great thoughts. And as we discovered with the maintenance policy thing, that's actually what I think these delivery weeklies are going to be our most useful thing for us, so we can share these ideas and stuff. Awesome. So in the interest of time, let's move on. So release manager review stuff, I know we went through on Monday, so we don't need to cover that again, unless there's anything extra you do want to highlight, Ruben.
No, I don't think so.
Awesome. One thing I just mentioned we talked a bit about on Monday, but would I be able to just leave the action with you, Ruben, to get the change requests added onto the deployment blockers?
Oh yeah,
Cool. Thanks.
I'll do that. Yeah.
Perfect. Great. Is there anything anyone else wants to bring up on this recording? Nope, I will stop the recording.